Before you hit confirm on your seat, here's the truth. On the same plane, two seats that look identical on the seat map can feel totally different once you're in the air. In this video, we're breaking down which seats in economy are actually worth picking, based on comfort, noise, legroom, and how much you'll get bothered by other passengers, and which ones can quietly ruin an entire flight. If you want an easier trip with fewer surprises, this is the seat guide you'll wish you had sooner. Number 1. Window aisle middle. Picking the best seat is really just picking the kind of inconvenience you can tolerate. A window seat is great when you want to switch off and disappear for a while. You get the view on takeoff and landing, you've got a wall to lean on, and you usually feel a little less exposed because you're not right on the aisle. If you sleep with your head tilted to one side, the window is basically a built-in pillow. The downside is the trap factor. Anytime you want to stretch, grab something from your bag, or use the restroom, you have to negotiate with strangers. And if the people next to you are asleep, you're either waking them up or doing that awkward sideways shuffle that nobody enjoys. Window seats can also feel colder because you're closer to the outer wall, and on some flights the sun can blast through that window like a spotlight. Aisle seats are the opposite vibe. You can stand up whenever you want, you can reach the overhead bin without climbing over anybody, and you're not stuck doing that awkward sorry shuffle past someone's knees. They're also a nice choice if you get restless, or you hate feeling boxed in. The hidden cost is the aisle itself. People walk by, bags swing, knees stick out, carts come through, and you become the person who keeps getting bumped. Even if nobody touches you, the movement and noise can make it harder to relax. You also don't have a wall to lean on, so sleeping can feel like trying to nap on a kitchen chair. Middle seats are the seat map's way of saying, good luck. No view, no easy escape, and you're squeezed between two people who both want to borrow your space without asking. Still, if you get stuck there, there's a small win. The middle seat gets both armrests. That's not rude, that's the social contract. If you're in the middle, your goal is damage control. Pick a row away from bathrooms and galleys, and if you can, choose a row where the people next to you are traveling together, because they're usually less likely to fight you for every inch. If you're choosing between a middle seat in a calm area and a window seat near the bathrooms, take the back. You can survive the back. The bathroom line is a different story. Number 2. Front middle back. Once you know your seat type, the next move is choosing your neighborhood. The front of economy is usually the fast lane. You tend to get off the plane sooner, which matters if you've got a tight connection, or you just want to beat the crowd to baggage claim. Service often starts earlier up front too, so you're less likely to hear, sorry, we're out of that option. But front rows can be busy in their own way. Galleys are often near the front, and that can mean bright lights, clanking carts, and crew moving around more. Also, on some flights, certain bulkhead areas are where bassinets can go, so you might be near more family activity than you expected. The middle of the plane is the balanced area. Around the wing, the ride can feel steadier during bumps because you're closer to the plane's balance point. If you get motion sick, seats near the wing can feel noticeably better than sitting way up front or way in the back. The catch is noise and view. On a lot of single aisle planes, the engines are right under the wing, so the middle can be louder than you expect. And if you're a window person who wants a clean view, the wing might block half your photos. The back of the plane is a gamble that depends on how full the flight is. It's usually the last place people choose, so when a flight isn't packed, the back is where empty seats tend to show up. If you're hunting for that dream scenario, an empty seat next to you, the back can be your best shot. But the back is also where bathroom lines form, and it's often where you'll hear doors opening and closing, water running, and people hovering in the aisle. You'll also be last off the plane. And on some aircraft, bumps can feel a little stronger in the back because you're farther from that balance point, kind of like how the back row of a bus feels more of the road. If you're doing the back of the cabin strategy, the sweet spot is usually a few rows forward from the very last row, and a few rows away from the bathrooms. Number 3. The seats to skip. Some seats look totally normal when you're booking, and then you sit down and realize you've been set up. The classic avoid at all costs seat is the very last row. On many aircraft, the last row doesn't recline, or it reclines less, because there's a wall or equipment behind it. Even when it does recline, it's often parked right next to the bathrooms, which means noise, smells, and people lining up basically in your lap. There's also a lighting problem. The lav area stays brighter than the cabin, so if you're trying to sleep, it's like someone left a hallway light on next to your bed. Next up is the row directly in front of an exit row. Airlines need space for the exit row to operate, so the seats in front may have limited recline or none at all. This one hurts because you don't always notice it on a quick glance at the seat map. You just assume the plane works like a normal plane, and then you spend the whole flight sitting straight up. Another sneaky one is the looks fine, feels cramped seat with missing under-seat space. Sometimes there's an entertainment or power box under the seat in front of you. Your knees might be okay, but your feet have nowhere to slide forward, so you end up sitting like you're in a chair that's half the size it's supposed to be. If you've ever landed with aching hips and calves, that's usually why. Also, watch out for seats right next to galleys or behind crew jump seats. Even if the seat itself is normal, the area can be loud, bright, and busy. Some of these seats also have hard armrests because the tray table or screen is stored inside, which can make the seat feel tighter. And then there's the fake window seat. Some window seats have a window that's misaligned, tiny, or missing entirely because of the aircraft's frame. If you chose window for the view, or just to lean on something, that's pure disappointment. A detailed seat map that shows window placement can save you from buying a window seat that's basically a wall. Number 4. Exit rows and bulkheads. Exit rows are famous for legroom, and when they're good, they're really good. If you're tall, if you have stiff knees, or you just hate feeling pinned in, that extra space can change your whole mood. Exit rows can also feel less claustrophobic because you're not staring at the back of a seat right in front of your face. But they come with trade-offs that people forget. First, you often pay extra. Second, there are rules. You must be willing and able to help in an emergency, and crew can move you if you don't meet the requirements. Third, many exit row seats have fixed armrests because the tray table is stored inside them. Fixed armrests can make the seat feel narrower, and if you like lifting the armrest to share space with someone you're traveling with, that's usually not happening. One more detail. Some exit rows have a strange setup where the window seat has less legroom than the aisle seat because of the door shape or wall angle, so don't assume every seat in that row is equally good. Bulkhead seats, the ones directly behind a wall, can be amazing or annoying, sometimes both. The good part is, you often get decent knee space and nobody reclining into you. The not so good part is storage. During takeoff and landing, everything has to go up because there's no seat in front to stash a small bag under. If you're the type who likes keeping your headphones, charger, and snacks within arm's reach, bulkhead can feel inconvenient. On many planes, the screen and tray table pop out from the armrest, which can make the seat feel tighter and a bit more rigid. Also, on longer flights, some bulkheads are where bassinets go, so it can be a high-traffic, high-noise spot, even if the legroom is decent. Number 5. Read the seat map. A lot of people pick seats like they're picking movie theater chairs. Middle of the section sounds good. Planes are trickier. 2 seats with the same letter can feel completely different depending on what's around them, and the seat map is basically a cheat sheet if you know how to read it. Start with the words airlines use. Pitch is the spacing between rows. It's not exactly your legroom, but it's a useful clue. Width is how much shoulder and hip space you get, and it can vary more than people think between different aircraft types. Preferred, or extra legroom seats usually mean more pitch, but they can also come with fixed armrests, missing underseat storage, or being closer to doors. So don't just buy extra legroom and assume you've solved the problem. Next, scan for landmarks. Bathrooms and galleys usually sit in clusters. If you see 2 lavatories and a galley block, assume that area will be noisy and bright. Doors and exit rows can mean more space, but also colder air and more foot traffic. Look for notes like limited recline, no window, no underseat storage, or restricted legroom, and treat them like warning labels, not trivia. Now do the quick aircraft reality check. Your booking usually shows the aircraft type somewhere, and that matters because layouts change from plane to plane. A seat that's great on one model can be mediocre on another. If you're serious about picking well, cross-check the airline's seat map with a detailed third-party layout so you can spot things like window alignment, odd missing seats, or a row that's actually a bulkhead. One more surprise, some cabins narrow towards the tail. In the last few rows, windows can shift, seats can angle, and space can feel tighter. If the map changes layout near the back, double-check the notes. And remember, airlines can swap aircraft. If you get an email saying equipment change, that's your cue to re-pick your seat before someone else grabs the good ones. Number 6. The busy zones. The worst seats aren't always the tightest seats. A lot of the time, they're the seats stuck in the middle of everyone else's routine. Bathrooms create a standing zone. People hover, stretch, chat, and scroll with their screens on full brightness. They don't mean to be annoying, they just have nowhere else to go. If your seat is right there, your personal space turns into public space. Now add the galley effect. On longer flights, crew are opening compartments, stacking trays, prepping drinks, and rolling carts. That creates clunks, beeps, and light leaks. If you're trying to sleep, galley light is the kind of thing that makes you feel like you never fully rested, even if you technically closed your eyes. Then there are the corners and cross aisles. On two-aisle planes, there are spots where people cut across the cabin. If your aisle seat sits right on that corner, you'll get bumped more often because people turn there and pause there. It's like sitting next to a doorway in a busy apartment. A practical trick is picking a buffer. Try to be a few rows away from bathrooms and galleys, close enough that you can walk there easily, far enough that you're not part of the line. If you can't avoid the area, a window seat can sometimes feel calmer than an aisle seat, because at least you're not right in the traffic lane. And if you're choosing between one row in front of the bathroom and one row behind the bathroom, most people find the row in front gets bumped more, because the line tends to form there. Number 7. Comfort for real bodies. Comfort advice usually assumes everyone is the same size and shape, and that's just not real life. If you're tall, extra legroom helps, but check what you're paying for. Some extra legroom seats have great knee space, but bad foot space because of equipment under the seat in front. Others are near doors and can feel colder. And if you're tall and you like sliding your feet forward, avoid seats where the underseat area is blocked, because your legs will feel cramped even with good pitch. If you have a broader build, seat width and armrests matter more than people admit. Seats with tray tables stored in the armrests often feel tighter, because the armrests are thick and fixed. Bulkheads and many exit rows can have that design. If your comfort depends on a movable armrest, check for that before you pay extra. If you ever need a seatbelt extender, you can ask a flight attendant discreetly. They handle it all the time, and it's a normal request. If you're traveling as a couple on a two-aisle plane, look for layouts with side pairs, like a 2-4-2. Those two seats by the window can feel way more relaxed because you're not sharing your row with a third stranger. If you're traveling solo on a two-aisle plane, a center section aisle can be a sweet spot because you usually only have one neighbor to let out, not two people trying to climb over you. And if back pain is your issue, don't underestimate the value of a regular seat in a calm location. A normal seat away from the bathrooms with full recline often beats a fancy seat that's cold, bright, and surrounded by traffic. Number 8. Booking like you mean it. Seat strategy starts before you step onto the plane. First, know what you bought. Some cheaper fares limit seat selection, limit changes, or make overhead bin access harder. If you're bringing a carry-on, you don't want to check. That matters, because overhead space is basically first come, first served. If overhead space is a big deal, your boarding position matters. Some airlines sell early boarding or prioritize status. Pack like you might not get a perfect overhead spot. Keep meds, chargers, and anything fragile in the personal item under your seat. If you can pick a seat during booking, lock in a decent baseline. Avoid the last row, avoid rows directly in front of exit rows, and stay a few rows away from lavatories and galleys. If the seat map is slim on details, check a more detailed layout so you're not guessing. After you book, keep an eye on the map. Seats open up constantly when people upgrade, change flights, or move around at check-in. A quick look in the airline app every now and then can suddenly reveal a better seat for the same price you already paid. If sitting together matters, handle it in the seat map early, because last-minute swapping on board is unpredictable and can put pressure on strangers. If the aircraft type changes, recheck immediately, because your great seat can turn into a weird one when the layout shifts. At check-in, move fast. The best remaining seats go quickly, and even small upgrades, like moving 3 rows away from a bathroom line or grabbing a seat with full recline, make a bigger difference than people expect. If you're willing to pay a bit, sometimes the cheapest upgrade is just buying a preferred seat in a calmer zone instead of chasing the fanciest extra legroom row. And if you board later, keep your essentials in the personal item under your seat so you're not stressed if the overhead bins fill up and you have to stash your bigger bag farther away.